You do not always have to look to the stage for leadership. Leadership starts with normal people doing small things in a great way. My name is Reuben, and this evening I'm going to be speaking to you about leadership without ego. Now, I know your question is, I'm not a leader right now, and I just came here to listen to the ideas that you guys have to share, but we are all leaders in our own way, and what we believe is once you exert a certain amount of influence on someone, that actually makes you a leader. It could be as a son, it could be as an uncle, it could be as a nephew, whatever capacity you exert, it could even be as a friend, whatever capacity that you're exerting any amount of influence on someone else, that allows you to lead them in a certain way. So there are a few points that we're going to look through today that's going to actually help us cultivate an ego-free culture in our society today. The first one is we need to stop looking for opportunities to be offended, okay? Being offended is one of the strongest components of the ego. It's a notion that allows us to be offended, to basically look at opportunities to actually be offended, okay? So this actually works for me in terms of when I'm driving and I see someone actually get into the way and basically I want to basically curse them or say something rude to them, and I have to remind myself not to basically take them too seriously or not to let their actions affect my emotions. And there's a phrase that we have that we like to throw around as Nigerians, which is, do you know who I am? And that phrase is basically telling the other person that if you knew who I were, then you would have a lot more respect for me as a person. And you would allow me to then disdain and disrespect you. And that's the ego in play. So stop looking for opportunities to be offended. That would allow us to cultivate ego-free leadership in our culture. The next one would be to stop your need to win. Now, there's nothing wrong with winning. You know, when you compete at work or at your sports and at games, there's nothing wrong with that. But what's wrong with that is our society is now obsessed with winning. You know, I see people with hashtags on Twitter and, you know, they've done this. I ate bacon this morning, winning. You know, I had this morning, winning. It's become a huge obsession in our society. So we need to, it's the idea that, you know, because I've scored points in this section and you haven't, that makes me a winner and it makes you a loser. So that basically cultivates the ego in us, and it's something that we need to get rid of. Because to me, it feels like we're gambling with our happiness, because basically our happiness is now basically based on our performance. And to me, that feels like we're gambling with our happiness. Okay, so in that same regard of killing your need to win, you also need to kill your need to be right. The best CEOs in the world are wrong in 2 out of 3 decisions that they make. Okay, and these are the guys that basically lead Fortune 500 companies. So us as individuals, we are going to make lots of mistakes. Every single day we make lots of mistakes, and we have to basically allow the other person win. Simple arguments like, oh, it was 200 naira. No, it was 250 naira. I saw it, you told me it was 200. Those kind of arguments, just allow the other person to be right. And I've got a forward formula for us today, and it's basically, the forward formula is basically to, you know, you're right about that. You know, you're right about that. If you just tell that person you're right about that, your emotions calm down itself. You know, you basically retract your need to win and you retract your ego, and you're basically a lot more subtle, and you're a better listener, and then you can actually solve those problems that those disputes wanted to bring up or rear up on your side. Am I making sense in here now? Okay, I need a bit more reaction, okay? Let's not allow the rain get in the way. Now, the next one would be to stop your need to be superior. The idea that we take on this notion that I'm better than someone else, the idea that I can be better than you makes me feel superior. So we need to kill that need to be superior, because what it basically does is that it allows pride to step in, and it separates us as one Nigeria. And the only way we can move forward is when we're actually together and thinking the same way and moving the same way. So if we allow pride and the idea that this person is superior to that person, or this person is a doctor and the other person is a mechanic, that sort of divides our society, and it allows the ego to spread us, and basically, you know, when you're divided, you can't fight. When you're together, you win. Okay? So true nobility is not about being better than anyone else. It's just about being better than you used to be. Okay? And I can say that standing in front of you here, that I'm not better than anybody sitting down there, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. Okay? I'm a better son, I'm a better teacher, I'm a better learner, and I'm a better human being as well. Okay? So the next one we found in our research was to stop your need to have more. And this is a real kicker because in our society, we're all taught and preached to have more, and there's nothing wrong with having wealth. I'm all for money, I'm all for having wealth, I'm all for having Rolls Royce and all of them. It's good, but what's wrong with wealth is when you allow that wealth to become greed, when you believe and actually teach the next generation unconsciously or consciously that you can't actually have noble wealth, you can't have wealth through legal method, you actually have to bribe this, pay this and pay that, and that's the news that we're pushing on to the next generation, and that's ego. Because the truth that no one ever tells us about greed is that when you're greedy, you're never going to be satisfied, because greed just satisfies pleasure, and pleasure is just an instance, and happiness is what lasts for a longer time. And the last point would be, stop identifying yourself on the basis of your achievement, and stop identifying yourself on the basis of your reputation. You are not your achievement, and you are not your reputation, okay? As I'm giving this talk in front of 300 people, I have 300 reputations out there, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to change that. What I am is my character, and that's the only thing I can control. I can't control what you think about me, okay? But I can control the way I react to what you say to me. I can control the way I behave around you. That's my character, that's who I am. So as I'm heading back to my seat, I hope that I've been able to push my point across to let you know that with Nigeria's bad image or bad reputation, and our leaders' bad reputation and our leaders' bad image, that if we actually construct our character and if we actually take time out to build our characters as Nigerians, we can actually change the image that the world has of us, and we can actually grow ego-free leaders in Africa. Thank you very much for your time.